Hi, I am Mary Mazur. This is Change Your Funk to Fun. And this episode is relationships and our 5 childhood wounds to heal. We're going to bring the two together. I'm very excited about this episode. And I have an amazing guest on that's coming onto the show with us, Anna Maria Vieser. So, Anna Maria was born in Lima, Peru. She moved to the U.S. and lives in Florida now. She's the mother of 2 boys, and she has a few pets too. She started her journey in the transformational aspects within herself in 2016 with a leadership program until Psyche found her in 2019. And she currently works independently as a Psyche facilitator and a mentor for people, to those who are ready for deep transformation. Currently, her training. She's also doing training in family constellations. So we're going to bring in both of those in. So we invite Anna Vieser with us now. So hello, Anna. Welcome. So happy you are here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So with this topic today, because this episodes that we're doing, there's 12 episodes. This is episode number 2. And the topic for all of the episodes is in relation to relationships so that we can have more meaningful, deeply connected relationships. And definitely having it within our own selves is the highest priority, obviously. And then with others, right? With your friends, your family, a loved one, with money, with our careers, with our purpose, with all relationships are such a proliferary, right? And I went through a bit of a crisis this month, which got completely resolved, which I'm grateful for. And I'm in a whole new being. And thank goodness we'll be talking about with the gift of Psyche, how I was able to transform so many pieces that came up for me because of the crisis. And with that, you helped me greatly, Anna, because I know with you doing Psyche, being a Psyche facilitator, I know we're there for each other, which I love, helping to support each other as I reached out to you when I was in a bit of a really tough spot in my life. And it came out of nowhere. Yeah, it came out of nowhere, completely surprised me. I'm like, what the heck is this showing up for? And then the gift that you asked me, which was so awesome, is you invited me to go step into the 5 childhood wounds that I may have experienced. And so we're gonna offer this for everyone listening today, because I'm sure you and I both understand and know that each of us have experienced somewhat some of these, all of these, probably some super high than others. The big injustice one was the one that was in my face this month. And so that was the huge one, but there were also all the other ones too. So yeah, would you love to share a bit and share how you found out about these? And I know you said you read a book about it, a Spanish book and all that. So yeah, bring us some information.
Yeah, I studied psychology while I was in college. That was actually my favorite subject, and I've always, every time I have a chance, I read about something related with psychology. And I knew about the childhood wounds. I actually posted something a few years ago, but never really got into it. And then recently, I don't know, I was browsing books on Audible, and I came up with this book, The 5 Childhood Wounds. And so I got it and I started listening to it, and it was like amazing because it talks about not only the wounds themselves, but it describes the behaviors or the physical characteristics of people. And one thing that came up, and it was like interesting, how we're attracted to where we are. I know that one of my biggest, or probably, mm, my most predominant wound was abandonment, and I happen to attract absent men with small eyes, and that's a trait. Small eyes, slim men, um, and like, so the book got me fascinated, and I'm actually preparing a workshop on the 5 childhood wounds, because I believe that if we're able to see what's in ourselves that's creating that reality again and again and again, rather than thinking that, oh, it's happening to me again. No, it's probably something that you haven't healed, and having those as guides, it works very good.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So let's bring up the 5 childhood wounds. And okay. So first is rejection. Is that okay?
Hmm.
The next, abandonment, which is what you just said.
Yeah.
Uh, injustice,
Hmm.
betrayal,
Yeah.
and humiliation,
Hmm.
or helplessness, right? Whoo boy. Yeah. Any of those. Let's see if any of those we might have experienced a little bit when we were children.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all have in different degrees, Like for me, I believe that my two um, predominant will be abandonment and rejection.
Hmm.
There's also betrayal, which happened in most of my relationships. It was either me betraying or I was being betrayed. But yeah, so I know that the five are there in different degrees for sure.
Wow, wow. So which one do you want to talk about first? Because we're this is an overview so that for the other episodes coming, we're going to dive in a lot more deeply with each one of these. And it's nice to get a whole, we're still going to be doing a lot here in this talk. Okay. And then what I'll also offer too, and with this, because it'll kind of give anyone who's listening, if they have a piece of paper, they can take out a piece of paper and write this down, is if
Hmm.
what came through me spiritually when you gave me these five to look at and you helped me with balancing these using Psyche, where I was able to shift those perceptions I had of those experiences back into my peace and non-attachment. And then I put in how I'd rather it be. How
Hmm.
do I want to be in this new way now because of this contrast experience or because of this wound or this hardship or really difficult experience? I was able to liberate myself through it and rectify through it. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you want, you can even write this down. So to the left, we'll write rejection. Okay.
Hmm.
And then to the right of the page, we can write accepted and accepting, united, connected, welcomed, invited in. Because it's basically the opposites. And the opposite of rejection, how would you rather be if you did not, if you, instead of feeling rejection, how do you want to feel? How do you want your life to be? Oh, I want to be accepted. I want to be united again. I want to be connected. I want to be welcomed in and invited in. Okay.
Hmm.
That, and then the next one is abandonment. Any of us had Phil. And this the key with this is a lot of this times we can get it at very young age as like a newborn baby. I felt abandoned as a newborn baby when they took me away from my mom after I was born and put me in a nursery. That alone was like, wow, I didn't realize it at the time until I became an adult and working through these wounds, right? That wow, I felt abandoned. My parents didn't mean to abandon me at all. That was just the way society did things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So now, because of that abandonment experience, I now am more deeply connected and supported. I know I can receive all the supports I ever wanted or needed instead of feeling like I'm alone or abandoned. Okay.
Hmm.
So, justice, and that was the one that I just rectified this month for me, thank goodness. Instead of experiencing injustices, well, now I experience justice, fairness, equality. Isn't that neat? That's
Yeah.
exactly. And then the next one is betrayal. So betrayal, the opposite of betrayal to the left would be to the right would be trust, security, bonding, connection. Okay. So if you have issues with betrayal, you felt betrayed, which means like, hey, you trusted somebody and then they let you down, right? They just did what they did. And then if you felt that experience of betrayal, the gift here is for us to go look into those aspects within you. Where have you betrayed your own self? Where have you um, you know, yeah, separated parts of yourself. So then the gift comes in is to be able to return back to trusting yourself again, moving into the security. The security we'll be talking about a bit more, bonding and connection. And then the last one, humiliation or helplessness. And I dropped into that this month too with the experiences I was going through. And then it helped me elevate and to expand into knowing that I am honored, revered, loved, and whole. So the gifts of all of these wounds is that once we do heal them, we actually become stronger. We actually become new in a new way. We have more compassion. We have whole new proliferate, right, of life in each of these pieces. But when you're in the thick of it, it's really rough. It's really rough. And I know we can even talk more about that because it
Hmm.
sucks when you're in it. You're like, what the heck? But the gift is it does force you, hopefully, to go reach out, get some help, right? Make a change like this. Come to a psyche workshop or come to a workshop you're going to teach, that with like the 5 wounds, all those
Hmm.
things. So Anna, which one did you want to work with, like abandonment first or
Let's do the rejection.
rejection? All right, let's start with the first one. Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, and there's actually masks, and well, that's how they call it in the book that I read.
Mhm.
So for the rejection, the mask is or the behavior will be a runner. somebody that just constantly leaves, like, so someone that does not know how to stay committed, just
Mhm.
avoids and runs away every time there's confrontation. Maybe the person will try to just get away because it's too much. And I think, yeah, the fear of being rejected, let me avoid it. That way I don't feel the pain of being rejected.
Mhm. Yeah, and they're all connected. That's the interesting part about all five of these, right? One kind of affects the other or lifts in the other and, and enhances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Rejection. All right. So what does it say more about with abandonment then?
Well, so for um the abandonment, it's someone that requires constant approval and validation.
Oh, wow.
So, uh, like, they're afraid to do things for themselves. They tend to feel insecure, or without the help of others. So it's the dependent people, like they cannot be independent because I can't do it alone.
Mm.
Big one for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing with abandonment, because I know each of these, I've experienced each of these. And yeah, the with the abandonment, there's like two parts. One is like you said, you could be, and this is the part, there's also another great book, The Five Personality Patterns too, that's similar to what you read. And with that one is that if we felt abandoned or we didn't feel like we got our needs met as a newborn, as a little baby, maybe our first couple of years of life, then like for my like the how I was raised was I was raised to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. Like you got to figure it out on your own kid. My mom had 10 other kids that she was taking care of, right? I was number 11. So it was like, no, she had to sleep. So even though I cried and wanted to eat or wanted to be held in the middle of the night, no, I had to suck my thumb and make sounds and do soothing for my own self. And then what I did is I became what's called like a compensated merger, which means that I moved into um, going to save everybody else, be the rescuer and go and be self-sacrificing, put myself last, go out there and go help everybody else, which is kind of nice to do to help people. But when you go too far, then what happens? We get depleted, right? And we get frustrated. And then we get all kinds of things happening, health issues happening, all kinds of issues happening. And then we float down. So the gift comes in is what we're going to be offering is that we can change any of these. Is the key is actually recognizing them. And that's what the gift of each of these are doing. So, Anna, I know we talked about the five childhood wounds: rejection, abandonment, injustice, betrayal, humiliation. And we touched on rejection and abandonment. So, let's dive into injustice, okay? Would you
Mhm.
like to share a bit of injustice that you've had in your lifetime? And I will certainly share what I've had in my lifetime and then how we're turning it back to justice.
Well, so for the injustice, those who wear the mask or the behavior, they try for perfection, which was my thing also.
Mhm.
Seeking approval and validation through achievement. So all those overachievers, we could say, that have probably been treated uh, in an unjust way in their life.
Mhm.
So I can see moments, if I think about my childhood, where I believe that things were not fair. And one thing I always look for when I during work in my past life before cycling was that I wanted to make sure that everybody was being treated fairly with justice. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Yeah. No, and me too. I mean, and I was actually born in 1968 during the civil rights crisis in Washington, D.C., right when they were burning down streets. So that at the time, African Americans were, standing up for themselves and for their rights. So I was growing in my mom's belly and as a little baby and a little child in that energy of this standing up for ourselves, right? Like, no, this we're done being not being treated equally. It's time for us to be treated equally, and we are equal. And they had such a strong stand that's actually what I was born into. So that has been my template here.
Mhm.
I'm in the same. I'm actually a Libra, which is funny, yeah, astrology constellation. Where I like the balance, right? And I like things to be equal and be things to be fair. And I love being an advocate. I loved right to speaking up and to standing up for things. And my dad was a Marine, so I was taught to be a fighter. So it's funny what we're born into. and then how that does help create it with that. So yeah, any injustices that have happened with me, I love to correct it, and I just did that this month, thank goodness, because I had a huge injustice that happened that I know I experienced, because when I experienced, I created it because it came to me. So the fact that it came to me let me know that there's an aspect within me that I'm still running this injustice program about. And that's the gift of psyche, right? We get to help find that out. Well, how would I rather be? It's time for me to let that go. So, and forgive, open our hearts, and then for me, I had to know, I wanted to know, and I wanted it at the subconscious level, so that this is my new way of being, is that yes, I am honored, I'm revered, I am heard. You know, it's like I speak my truth and my truth is heard. And that's exactly what happened. And yay, I cleared all of my injustice experience, back to justice again, which I'm grateful for beyond measure. I know, which is awesome. So, and you're right. I was a perfectionist too, or close to being one. Just, I have a super high bar, I guess you would say, right? I like
Mm.
things just done just right, done really well. And I love that, and even those overachiever, but I had no idea it had anything to do with me having running injustice programs within my subconscious mind. That wild? We don't know this stuff. How would we know this stuff, right? Till we start really wanting to make the changes, and that's the gift. And when something comes in your life and you do want to make the changes, right? Psyche, and we'll be talking about family constellations also, is another. Both of those two working together is really gorgeous, right? Psyche is meant
Yeah.
to work with all kinds of different tools. It's a gorgeous tool that's super fast and effective. And then any other tool that wants to hang out with it, absolutely, woohoo! They all can work together. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about betrayal? We talk about betrayal. Have anyone ever felt betrayed as a child or in their childhood? And we will definitely be diving in about our parents, because what happened with our moms or what happened with our dads, things like that. Okay.
So for the betrayal, people who have this mask try to control and dominate everything in their environment. I'm
Mhm.
sure, especially others. No, that's a big one also for me that I noticed. They can be perfectionists and have difficulty trusting others since they
Mm.
have not done when they don't get their way, because of course they don't want to be betrayed. And I did that many times.
Wow. Well, it makes sense though, and because it's at the subconscious level, they're not even aware that this is what's happening within them. So they do the opposite, right? The opposite of if you don't want to be betrayed is, well, you're going to control everything. You're going to make sure everything's perfect. You're going to be the one in charge, right? It's that coping skill, right? That would be with the 5 personality patterns, more of the rigid pattern, or even aggressive, right? Where they can
Yeah.
be, yeah, where they actually had these wounds in here that then made them, all right, well, I got to be a little more rigid. I have to follow all the rules. I'm doing everything right. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay if I can just follow all the rules, right? Then I won't be betrayed, or bad things won't happen to me, things like that.
Yeah, I remember during my marriage, it got so bad that I had a GPS, my husband, and it was like so like out of control because if I wasn't looking at where he was, and then I thought he could be doing anything. I mean, I just know where he's at. I don't know. I can't see what he's doing. So yeah, it
Mhm.
could be get out of control for sure. And but because we had that betrayal as children, we continue to reproduce the same experience as adults. And we believe that it's the people that we're attracting that they do it. No, it's us. We're creating it over and over.
Yeah. So where did you come to recognize that you were betrayed as a little child, or had that experience of betrayal?
I think, I mean, it could have happened in any moment, no? Like if I felt that my parents, for example, didn't take my side, if I had trouble in school, and I remember getting in trouble a couple times, not often, but if they didn't take my side, for example, I felt that I was being betrayed. Like, how could you not take my side? I'm your daughter.
Mhm. Wow. What
Yeah,
a
I
great.
kind of see, or maybe there was one thing I always remember when my mom will say, I guess she was going to do something or we were going to do something. And I vividly remember telling her, but you told me, but you told me, but you told me. And I remember once she said, I'm not going to tell you anymore anything because every time if she couldn't do it, then I'm like, oh, you're lying to me. Oh, you're lying to me. So
Mhm.
betrayal.
Gotcha, gotcha. And then as a little child, like 0 to 7 years old, our minds work in a way where it's very literal, control, right? So we download and we create these programs. We create this conclusion or perception, right? Even though it's a very narrow focus because it's just on a little child's mind. Okay? So we don't mean to do this to ourselves or to how things are. It's just how the construct works here. The gift is that we get to change it, and that's what we do now, especially as adults. Let's make these corrections, right? Woo!
Yes.
Instead of betrayal, like what can I do to trust myself, trust my own intuition, my own connection within my own intuition? That's what I love. We're helping people with is once you can actually trust that, and that's actually what happened with the incident that I had to solve. Is I had to trust my intuition. I had to trust all the people helping me that it was helping me to resolve this too. And it was a choice. A trusting is a choice. You can either choose to not trust or trust. And it does
Yes.
take a leap of faith. It is a leap of faith because we don't know the unknown. We don't know the next moment. It is the unknown, right?
Mm.
But but the gift is what would I like to do? What does my heart want to do? My heart wants to trust. And I want to be trusted, right? I want to be trustworthy and then also be able to see the good in others and know that they're doing the best they can. So I can trust. Right? It's pretty fascinating. And then there's times that there's people that just are not trustworthy. But if they're in your life, then that means they're probably here as a teacher for you to help you start figuring out, are there any aspects that you still don't trust about yourself that you can still help change, right? Which is what we do. And then if you're willing to be vulnerable enough and just be curious enough, that it's the whole thing becomes very fascinating. You're like, wow. And that's a lot of this is very surprising to me too, still. And I've been using Psyche for 14 years. And I still get surprised, like I did this past month. And I'm like, how the heck did all this come up? Well, it was another thing my system, my spirit was ready to want to change. And that's what's so sweet because we actually are loved so much. And actually, a big piece of that we'll even talk about because I did have a bit of betrayal with the people that I was interacting with around this. I felt betrayed because I thought they were here to protect me, and the exact opposite happened. Right? Is then what I ended up doing is I went in with them myself to find out. Okay, so what's going on? Where have I betrayed myself? And a big piece that I did is I actually was mad at my spirit for having this happen in my life because I'm thinking, okay, if my higher self is the one that's knows everything, make sure everything's safe and good, and that's good. And then a really crappy thing happened to you, you can get pretty mad. Like some people be like really mad at God, if they want to call it God or the universe or somebody else or blame somebody else because you're like, this is not right. Well, that's still that injustice, right? So injustice and betrayal can kind of dance together. So that's where I actually had to go right in and it let myself be mad and raging and upset that this is happening to me because we have a right to feel it all. I just don't want to stay there. That's the gift. How long do you want to stay there? I said, all right, I felt that now. Thank you very much. I did stand up for myself, which I think is a really good thing to do. And then I'm like, okay, so help show me, why is this here for me? How is this here for me? Because actually everything is here for you. And that's a humongous change when you can let go of any victim energy or somebody's doing something bad to me or this is wrong. That's duality land, and help yourself lift up into fifth dimension, unity consciousness, connecting oneness with our spirit again. Then everything begins to start changing in more positive ways. And that's exactly what happened to me. Thank goodness. I'm so grateful for. And yeah, so my spirit helped show me that no, I agreed on the spiritual realm before, these physical realms, that I was going to go to this extreme, to a very high extreme. So I can show myself that, yes, I do speak my truth. My truth is heard. It sure is. And justice is served. And it's exactly what happened. And I had to have the courage to go through all of this because fear came in, lurking in, super huge. I had so much fear. I had humiliation and helplessness experiences with the issue that I went through. And wow. So I felt it and then I transformed it. And that's the gift with Psyche, with the balances. And it's actually within minutes. I did this within minutes each time. That's the amazing part, is how fast it works. And then thank goodness I was like, wow, 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 wow. So no, now I love my higher self. I'm not mad at it anymore. I agree, man, I signed up for some really crazy stuff in this lifetime and we get to change it and rectify it, which shows, wow, look how powerful we really are. Look how much we can actually do. And I know you've done a ton in your life already, Anna. I honor and I love you for all that you have shown, that, that the changes you've done with every area of your life. And I know it's amazing. So now you live where you trust your security, and our security is meant to be in our connection with our divinity, right? The last one is we're going to do it real quick, is on humiliation. So is there anything, does it say about humiliation?
The humiliation, it the masochist. So the mask that those who wear this mask tend to self-sabotage and attract suffering situations
Oh,
because
wow.
you know what, they might feel guilty or deserving of punishment. So if there have been humiliation, we continue to repeat self-destructive patterns.
Wow. And that was part of the injustice too that linked into that with humiliation. And the fact that I was sexually molested as an 8-year-old girl brought in that humiliation piece up again. With this, I felt humiliated by all that I was going through. And that was the big one. I checked in with myself. Do I believe I have to punish myself? And it came up, yes. I'm like, where the heck did I get that from? Well, my religion. Yes, yes, yes. That religion swapped that right in there. Oh my goodness. So I shifted all of that and I was so grateful. So the gift is we can change all of these. And the where I am now compared to where I was 2 days ago, I'm forever grateful. And Anna, we're gonna be start talking about solutions now. What have you done? What have you helped other people do? What I have done for my own self and helped other people for each of these wounded areas that we agreed to experience in this lifetime that we can actually heal. Yeah. So which one would you like to begin with first of the five?
Well, for me, like the abandonment was big. I actually had a session of family constellations because I'm learning, but I'm also um, being the client for facilitators, as I believe that there's some things that still I have not um, recognized. And Psyche is amazing, and I actually combine both of them.
Mhm.
And recently, one that came up for me was the abandonment when my partner passed away a couple years ago almost.
Yeah.
And even though he was the one that came up on the constellation or during that session, I know that it was coming, the origin, it's usually either mom or dad. And for me, it was my dad. But so yeah, transforming perceptions with Psyche, even after the constellation, helped me like release the emotions that I had trapped, and it was powerful. And just this week, I was able to experience um, a different experience. I was able to live through a different experience, which I wasn't allowing myself simply because I was afraid of being abandoned again.
So what happened? Share your experience, and I love it.
Well, I had met someone through my Airbnb business a few years ago, and I had we stayed in touch. We stayed friends. We became friends, and right before Oliver passed away, my partner passed away. We were not together. He was dating someone else. This guy reached out. We went on a date, and I liked him, but there was something that was like keeping me because obviously my heart was still with Oliver, and we stayed friends. We continued to speak, and then his brother passed away, so we both were into our grieving, I guess, state, and we lost touch for a few months, maybe close to a year. And
Mm,
this weekend, he reached out asking how I was doing, and we texted back and forth, and then finally he's like, "Do you want to come fly with me?" And I was
mm,
like, so in that moment, I started crying, and I did share this with him because the rejection word came up. In my experience with my previous relationship, he was a yacht captain and he traveled all the time, and I mean it was for work for sure, but every now and then he will have parties in the yachts and he invited his friends and I was never invited.
mm,
That memory came up. I was like, oh my God, that's the rejection. That's the rejection wound that this guy is bringing up. So it's a new story, new person, but he brought up the memories of that past. So
mm.
I know that for me, I still have to look within and heal that rejection.
Wow, isn't that amazing? What a gift, right? And then with the gift of Psyche, right? You're going to put in these
Yeah.
pieces, right? So how would you rather be instead of feeling that rejection or feeling that? How would you
Yeah.
like
For sure. Yeah. And I never thought so. Psyche works that subconscious mind.
Mhm.
But what I like of the constellations is that it works the soul, but it also works the family system. So whatever programs we carry in the family, whatever wounds were unhealed in the family, when we do constellations, we can not only heal ourselves but heal our system. And obviously the healing happens much faster, and psyche balances are great for that.
Yeah, well, which is beautiful, and it's important to realize exactly like this rejection probably was carried over from your parents, right? Your mom probably had some rejections, your dad's, it's probably been going on for thousands of years with a lot of our ancestries, right? And
Yeah.
none of us because they were just surviving. We were all surviving and going through all these. Yeah, yeah. So how beautiful, right? When the two can go hand in hand. Yeah. I love it. I
Mhm.
love it. Ooh, are there any other good stories that you'd like to offer in relation to yeah, healing any of these wounds?
Well, I had a situation with my neighbor also that I felt that wasn't fair, and I used balances, psyche balances, to clear all the injustice that I believe I was creating, and everything got cleared. Like I had to go to court, and everything got dismissed, and I was like, yes, because there's justice in my life.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that great? Yeah, yeah. No, so beautiful. So I just had a client session yesterday with a beautiful couple, and they love Psyche. They actually use Psyche for themselves, and they're so precious. I have a really heart for them. And then they also are going through a divorce. Like I went through a divorce last year. I know you did years ago, but it was just their time. They completed their journey together. They do have kids together, so they're still going to co-parent. And they just reached out to have some sessions with me. They did a series of 6 with me, and it's been precious. I've actually been working the two of them together, and it's been so precious because they can be vulnerable with each other and speak how they feel and what they do, and they're sharing basically all of these wounds that without even having to say it, right? And it's happening in the relationship with a loved one, like we do, which happens a lot in our romantic relationships. So what happened with the gentleman is I helped him move into more of a journeying experience where he went down, he closed his eyes and went back to everything he was saying about his soon to be ex-wife, of what he felt she was doing to him, which didn't feel good, because this is what happens with the relationship, especially when they break up. He accessed in, and what I was able to help him with, and his spirit talks through me, so his spirit was able to access, is that he went back to his childhood. Where did he experience it when he was a little boy? Was it from with his mom or with his dad, or sibling, or somewhere in there? And it was his dad. It was like, poof, all the dad stuff. His dad was mean to him, inconsiderate, was right. All these critical pieces that he thought his wife was doing was actually wounds that he had when he was a child with his dad, that he was here to heal. And she was actually his best teacher right now to help him heal these wounds. And he did. And that was like, they were just like, poof, when he shifted it and realized it, that it was his own stuff, not hers. That how amazing is that? It just appeared with another being here, which our relationships will do that for us. And then she did a similar thing too with something with her mom. It was more with her mom that she shifted in. So it's so huge. Like a big one that came up, and it actually came up even with my own life. It was that hmm, he didn't think that she was telling the truth. Like when she'd say something, it wasn't like her authentic self saying exactly her truth. She just kind of had to say whatever she thought he needed to hear. And she
Mm,
probably learned that from her mom. My mom did the same thing. She lived in denial, and she would just say what we wanted to hear. But I knew it wasn't true. But it's like what you said. But mom, like what, this isn't true. Like we can feel it as kids. Like you're not happy. You're acting like you're happy, but no, you're not. There's a lot going on inside of you that you're not sharing, right? So a lot of us will be then it is more difficult for us to trust fully, because we didn't feel that trust connection of someone being really true to how they feel and what they really are doing, which then can affect, like you say, more of those betrayals or more of those letdowns or more of those other issues. So the gift with all of us is that we can identify what these are and then change them. And that's what we're being called to do now, which I'm so grateful. And I know that's what you and I love to help people with. And it's all in our readiness. It's all in our timing, especially when big catastrophes happen, or tragedies. Then you're really going to do it. Like if you have a health issue, a major health issue, or going through, like with them going through the divorce, they're actually going so smoothly and being so loving and supportive with each other. It's really amazing while they're still handling all of those hurts inside of them, or we can call them wounds or hurts, or just those hurts parts. And to see them just come back together in their wholeness in such precious ways that this divorce actually is going to turn into something really beautiful for them, which most people don't talk about. Many times divorce can actually help people go liberate, go be how you want to be and need to be, and then learning how to respect each other and honor each other for how we are and that what we taught each other, the lessons we receive from this relationship. And that happened even with my divorce. I value my ex-husband totally. He was a wonderful man and he taught me so much, and I think I taught him a bunch too, right? And I'm sure yours did too, right? Yeah. So what would be some things that you would offer for people so that they know that they actually can make these changes? Because I know even some people, I helped my friend Sabine where she got stuck into I can't, nothing's going to change. Two people actually have helped recently. They had a part where that nothing changes, that everything stays the same. And their security was that was actually a security blanket for them because they kind of like things not changing. Isn't that interesting, huh? But then they get one was rutted into a health issue. The other one, she still is having a little bit of health issues right now that she's rectifying. So they're both anchoring up this I can't, nothing's going to change, and just stop this whole like holding down, holding in. And with Psyche, that helping them leap up where they actually are resurrected that, and they went to the childhood wounds of these pieces of where they really it landed right in where my one friend, her parents had a terrible relationship, and their relationship kept getting worse. Even with the divorce, it even got worse and worse and worse. So nothing ever changes. It just gets getting worse and worse and worse. So as a child, we can literally interpret that that's just how the world is, and then that's what we see in the life. And the gift here is whenever you're ready to change it, right? Have your spiritual awakening. Let Psyche come into your life like it did you and me. Boom. And that's what happened with the ones that I'm helping here too. And I help it with my own self, is that now she could change it. And now her health is like increasing amazingly from that huge breakthrough. That wow. And then that's those secondary gains where it was serving her in some way, giving her that security of not having to change. So how does she want to have it now? She says, no, I want the change. I want the change. I want my security to be in the changes, that it's going to turn for good now. Things can change. Things can turn for good. I don't have to just stay stuck that no, nothing changes, because we can stay stuck there. We get a choice of wherever we want to be based on the beliefs we have. And that's the gift with Psyche. And then even with family constellation helps bring up a lot more of the emotions, a lot more of the visceral realness. That's what I love about family constellations, is all the realness of it, which is so beautiful. Like you say, there's such a good support for each other, for us in making these changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've experienced, well, one of the things I learned by transforming perceptions and continue to work with myself and Psyche was that the other is just always a mirror. It's always a mirror. So if I don't like something about someone, I look at myself like, what is this person showing me about me? Like, because it's just me. It's just me that I'm not liking. There's part of me that I haven't recognized, that I dislike, I haven't accepted. So, but yeah,
Wow.
always works. And also, if we always bring it to childhood, no, like I wouldn't say I had a bad childhood whatsoever. But when we get defensive, no, and I think it's that perfectionist, that everything was good and happy in my life. Not always. There were certain moments where I can say, no, I wasn't happy and loving. But am I ready to look within? I'm ready to face that pain and just know that with balances, psyche balances, we can just rewrite the story.
Yay! I love it. And go feel and experience the new. And I have to say, when you and I were on a call the other night and my girlfriend heard it, your joy was off the charts. And I was, I know, and I love it because I've seen your transformation. I've witnessed it, and it's such a joy, Anna. And you keep growing, you keep expanding because you keep yourself self accountable, and you have that self responsibility to go within, and that's the key. Yeah. So what would be like a recap? Because this is just the recap time before we finish the show of what can help people the most with healing these parts of
Well,
them.
to heal for me, what has helped has been definitely the combination of modalities. Psyche was by far my favorite because
Mhm.
it's so easy to learn, and it's so fast. The thing with constellations, it can take a little bit, but with Psyche, you can expedite the process.
Mhm.
So, um, what has helped was recognizing that I'm constantly creating the reality that I see, being aware of that, and then going within, and then just using balances, Psyche balances.
Isn't that beautiful? And then, like, the gift is like you go and experience your new way, like you did when you went on an airplane ride and you had a beautiful, fun experience with this guy, and yet you trusted again instead of being afraid of betrayal. Like, how amazing is that, right? You literally went and had a whole new experience of what your heart's desires are, right?
Yeah. It actually helped me also being on the plane and started doing balances because I was freaking out. Like the adrenaline, the excitement, the combination of everything was a lot. He kept saying, breathe, just breathe. And I'm like, no, I'm not breathing. I'm doing balances right now.
I know, right? Well, and that's the gift, 'cause we're meant to feel here. We're meant to experience and have all of our sensual aspects of ourselves be fully alive, right? And that's what you did. You're fully stepping into feeling everything. I am too, and I love it because I didn't feel. I cut it all off. I cut a lot of my feelings off because it wasn't safe to feel. And I was told, you cry, I'll give you something to cry about. Like, it was like, no, I can't feel, I can't cry. And it's like, what? Yes, I can. I can cry. We're supposed to cry. We're supposed to cry. We're supposed to get scared, even. It's okay to get scared, and then we can transform it. Like you say, you turn it for good. And good thing you mix the scared with the excitement. And even when we're sad, we can have joy and sad at the same time. That's the tears come down the middle when it's joy and sadness, right? These are the really sad, grieving ones. This is the joy one. So, and then we can have the in between. We can have both here. That's the thing. We can experience the highs. Yes, when we're in the lows, they are here for us to come back up into the highs again. And then in time, we're just going to be in a nice flow. And that's what I'm thrilled that we get to be able to help people with, and that we get to experience it for our own selves, because we have to do it with our own selves first before we can even go help anybody else. And that's it. You and I know this works because we have had our lives transformed in such beautiful, precious ways. And it's all in everyone's timing when they're ready for it. It's like, yeah, I think I'm ready. All right, well, there you go. That's a good idea, because we only work with the ones that are ready, because that's when it works, is when you're ready. Oh my goodness. So yes, would you like to talk about the Psyche workshop we're going to have at your beautiful home in Florida?
Yes, it's going to be on April 5th to the 7th. It's from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. And during that workshop, we'll be able to learn how to uh, muscle test, how to create the goal statements, and transform perceptions using two balances, new direction and resolution. And we will be learning how to facilitate with ourselves and with others in case we want to continue the journey and explore the possibility of becoming a facilitator professionally, work professionally.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. I love it. So how can people get a hold of you?
My email address is info@annamariavister.com. Um, and my cell phone, I'm going to give my cell phone also. It's 954-557-7170.
All right. Thank you, Anna. I love it. Yeah. And you do private sessions, and then you're going to, as soon as you, with that information, they can find out about the workshops that you're going to be developing and creating too. And then, yes, thank you for sponsoring me to come and teach Psyche in your beautiful home near Fort Lauderdale, Florida, April 5th.
So
Thank
warm and sunny.
Exactly. And then if anyone wants to get a hold of me, Mary, you can go to my website, igniteandhealyourlife.com. Igniteandhealyourlife.com. That's how you will register for that workshop in April. I'm also teaching in February 16th in Grand Rapids, Michigan, in case anyone is up in the northern part. And then I also offer online workshops. You can actually begin with the online and then go to the in-person ones, or you can just start with the in-person. It's whatever you want to do. So the online I'm offering in February 23rd weekend, and then also one in March 22nd weekend. And it is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Exactly. The online ones are from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The in person are or from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So just a slight different change. But this has been wonderful, Anna. Thank you so much. What a joy. May we inspire people that they can heal their childhood wounds. Yeah. By balancing and by shifting and by opening their hearts again and beginning anew. And because we can, because this is why we're here. All right. I am Mary Mazur. This is Change Your Funk to Fun. Have a wonderful day. Aho.